Now we're continuing on our preview of the Ulster Under-20 Championship, quarter-final time, of course, and a nice local derby to look forward to here in the Northern Sound region. It is, of course, Cavan taking on Monaghan, Park Grattan in Skeen on Friday night at 8:15. I'm delighted to be joined by Mark Mc Keever here, who is a selector with the Under-20 team. Of course, Damien Donoghue, well-known commentator with us here indeed on the station, is the manager there, and Mark has been delegated the job of having a chat with us here just ahead of that game. It was interesting, Mark, when I was chatting to Damien, he says, no, I'll get somebody else to talk. Maybe I do too much talking. So I don't know how much information maybe you'll depart to us, but like everything else, looking forward to it. It's a small period of time you have maybe with the under-20s. It's a very condensed sort of time as well. And you have been building up to this championship outing.
Yeah, I suppose with last year, everything was sort of all up in the air. At least this year was a little bit more structured, but coming to game time, there was a very quick run in with 3 league games and then not much space between that and championship. But with all going well, maybe that's a good thing because, momentum starts to build and stuff like that too. So hopefully it'll be good for us with that bit of momentum and getting a lot of games coming up. As I say, last year we didn't have that many games and went straight into a championship sort of unknown. So at least this time we've had a couple of games to get behind us and see where we're at.
Yeah, and I suppose to think about it as well, and you've noted that you were there last year as a management team also, and I know obviously the panel probably is evolving with players moving on, other players coming in, but that's important that I suppose that you have been there and whatever about last year and what you've learned from it, that you have had time to go look again and formulate and work and come back then maybe with a different approach or new players.
Yeah, I think it's important to have some similarities there, especially when there was a right few of them guys are on the panel this year again. We had a fairly young sort of panel last year, so it gave them an opportunity to learn a little bit along with ourselves, and then to build to this year. So a couple of younger lads coming in again this year and helped it, energy wise and things like that too. A bit of enthusiasm as well. So that's no harm either. But yeah, having a few there from years gone by is definitely no harm at this level, because the under-20 competition seems to be maybe one that's nearly forgotten about from a lot of counties and that, and it's nice to see a little bit of an emphasis put on it. I know maybe from the outside that mightn't be seen, but I suppose when we're in there in the group, there's a lot of time and effort gone in, especially by players. The commitment levels are huge by those, and you'd like to see them get the rewards of it.
Yeah, I suppose the thing about it is because it's played off in such a short time frame, that maybe gives the impression that there's not much thought or time given to it. But you've noted it there, like whatever about maybe having been in the Philly McGuinness tournament, those couple of games and that, now a championship out, and if you worked it all out, it's only 3-4 games so far. But you have been in training for the best part, no doubt, I would imagine, of 6 months or more, or even 12 months from last year in preparation for this.
Yeah, well, I suppose it sort of broke up a little bit, obviously, with club football taking over and obviously COVID restrictions with different stuff, even at the start of this year. So, it wasn't ideal, and you wouldn't have had a full commitment from last year to this year. So it was a bit basically like maybe set up and go again. But at least this year there has been a bit of a run in. So we've been training for a little while, and that's a big thing. But then it all comes down to how many guys you have at that time. When we got them back for some of the training, there was a lot of college football going on, and you have to sort of look after that too, because guys want to play for their college and they want to do well there, and you don't want to be training them hard at that stage when they're playing games with their colleges, and so you have to sort of bide your time a little bit. So now I suppose we've had them for the last couple of weeks, maybe to ourselves and that type of thing. So we have to build from there on. And as you say, it's a very quick run in now, a couple of weeks in a row. So there's a lot sort of riding on this, and a lot of work has gone on behind the scenes. So like that, you'd like to get a bit of a run in these competitions to justify what the boys have done. and justify the effort and hard work that they've had and they've put in.
Yeah, of course, Cavan have had success in past years in this particular competition. Indeed, dominated it there for a period of time in that as well. So there is a storied history.
Yeah, and I suppose, you know, it's been probably too long for us, to be honest. You know, that was a very strong period of time, and we've had success backed with that from the senior team. Most of them guys that won the under-21 at the time, you know, featured in that also win for Cavan seniors there in the years gone by. So, you know, you'd like to see that happen again, but we've hadn't had anything, you know, really since that. You know, so we would like to be right up there competing at that level all the time, you know, as a stepping stone into senior. So you'd like them moving into senior with a little bit of success behind them. But you know, it hasn't been the case for a couple of years with Cavan, but hopefully we can get back to it.
Yeah, and it's interesting you note that, because I suppose this is a competition that has been sort of mooted, that may be done away with, and different age grades coming in and one thing and another. But Cavan's testament, and other counties are testament to it as well, that this is the pathway, this is the structure for teams or for players that have gone maybe through development and minor. This is a natural step maybe before going senior.
Yeah, with the way football has moved on, and the amount of strength and conditioning and all that stuff that is done now at the moment, that it's not as easy for a 18 or 19-year-old to make it onto a senior team straight away. So this has to be the stepping stone for those guys. So you have to cut your teeth at minor level and then go on to the under 20 level and be comfortable there before you do that step up to that. Because, you know, you could count on one hand the amount of guys that come from nearly minor level into a senior setup and make an impact in the first couple of years. So yeah, that I think it's an integrating thing for them to get to see the commitment levels and the effort levels and the strength and conditioning stuff that needs to be done to make it at county senior level. And I suppose it may not be for every guy. There's an awful lot to it at the minute. So no, it's a big commitment, and it might not be for everyone, but at least they get to see what it's like at that under 20 level for maybe a shortened period in the year, as the competition is short over the time, but at least it integrates them into a little bit.
Yeah, of course, gives them a taste of it. Friday night, the opposition, last year's beaten finalists, Monaghan. Now, I know again, panels evolve, so there'll be players that would have left that panel and new players that have come in, and that. He's met earlier this year, I know, back a couple of weeks ago in the Philly McGuinness tournament. Monaghan just about coming out on top that night. It was a home venue for them as well. So I take it you'll have learned a bit from that, and be aware maybe of their strengths and what your strengths could be against them.
Yeah, I suppose, you know, it was a good opportunity to pit ourselves again. And, you know, they're obviously a very good team. They've been in that final and minor level at this age group. They went on to win Ulster, I think. So, you know, they've had that winning feeling with this team, and that. So we need to get right up to that, and we need to, you know, bring it to them on that. So look, we'll hopefully be, you know, the beat us be a couple of points the first day out. So hopefully we learn a little bit more than they did, and hopefully we can stick with them on that and be thereabouts, and maybe get that little bit extra to get us across the line, you know, hopefully on the day maybe.
It's something, and I have talked to Dave McKeever, the Monaghan manager, and I remarked it to him. I says, the one thing about this competition, it's very hard to put a favourites tag on anybody. Obviously, you would be saying Monaghan will be the ones coming in at the edge, being last year's beaten finalist, home venue. He was putting it back that Cavan coming in, nothing to lose, will have learned, as you've noted there, from that encounter. The thing about not really being able to put a favourites tag on anybody in this particular competition is because of that evolving of players and teams and players going in and out. And also as well, it's championship. It's one bite at the cherry, and anything can happen in one game.
Yeah, and I suppose for young guys too, it's nearly the first taste of real championship football where it's pure knockout. Like you don't get another go, you don't get another chance. So you have to put all your eggs in one basket and go for it. There's no holding back till you know, second or third game or anything like that. So you have to give it everything, and you know, sometimes that suits young lads, sometimes it does not. So hopefully our bunch. You know, it'll suit them when we get the best out of them on the day. Like, as you know, from a couple of the games we have played already, you know if you're not up to it on the day, things can go horribly wrong for you. And we've seen where some games, we weren't at the pitch of it, and we were showing up, and that is the case. Whereas, 1 or 2 days we came with the right attitude, and we played well, and we're right there with a good chance then on any day out. So, you have to come, prepared, and if you're prepared as well, and things go well for you, a little bit of luck on the day, maybe, you get a win, but you have to have everything right going into it.
Well, listen, Mark, thanks very much for taking time out to talk to us here this evening. And again, we're all looking forward to any time there's a derby between Cavan and Monaghan. We know anything can possibly happen. And of course, we will have full live commentary of the game indeed as well with us here on Northern Sound.